Hello everyone! Today, we'll be seeing how fast Mothim can beat Pokemon Pearl in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. Earlier in the month, we played through Pokemon Pearl with Vespiquen, and it did okay, I'd say, but it was still not a good playthrough. But interestingly enough, I was supposed to do Vespiquen and Mothim much earlier in the year. They were actually supposed to be my first Pokemon Pearl videos for 2025, but due to a bunch of problems I was having with Vespiquen, I kinda had to cancel both videos, but today, we're actually gonna get these done. We have 70 HP, 94 attack, 50 defense, 94 special attack, 50 special defense, and 66 speed. We are also in the medium fast level up group as well, so we're not going to be leveling up too fast, but what's surprisingly interesting is we're actually a balanced attacker and we have balanced defenses, which is pretty interesting. So we could get away with using either physical or special moves, but our starting moveset is not that good. We start with just tackle. Yeah, that's not great. And then we get Protect at level 10, then Hidden Power at level 20, which is honestly kind of pointless for this because Hidden Power is the very first TM you get in this game. If this was Platinum, that would be great. And then throughout the rest of the levels, we get Confusion, Gust, Poison Powder, Psybeam, Camouflage, which changes your type depending on the environment, Silver Wind, which is like Ancient Power, Air Slash, Psychic, and Bug Buzz. This moveset honestly kind of reminds me of Dustox. And the TM and HM learn set is also sorta similar to Dustox. We get access to all the grass type moves we could want, except for Grass Knot sadly. But then we also get Psychic and Shadow Ball, Aerial Ace, Thief, Silver Wind, Energy Ball, Dream Eater. Funnily enough, we get Dream Eater even though we don't have a move that can put the opponent to sleep. Maybe it gets something by Egg move that I don't know about, but I didn't bother looking. Anyways, as you can see on the overlay, we're going with the Rash nature, which is plus special attack minus special defense. We're going to be using special attacks far more often than physical ones. And our ability is Pressure, which isn't really that good for solo run challenges. It just doubles the amount of power points the opponent uses. It could potentially have very niche uses, like if the opponent loves using moves with 5 PP, we could reduce that to just 3. But honestly, it's not really that useful. It just wastes a lot of text in the overworld because it'll always say, Mothim is exerting its pressure. Which would be true if we were playing this in Gen 5, but for some reason in Diamond and Pearl, maybe they changed this in Heart Gold Soul Silver, or I don't know, but for some reason the pressure text doesn't show up in battle. I mean, hey, at least we don't have to deal with that time loss. After slowly making my way to Jubilife City, I go enter the trainer school and get myself the TM for Hidden Power. As you can see in the bottom corner of your screen, we have Hidden Power Water. This is going to make the Rock-type gym leader incredibly easy. And also, since the rival is always going to have the Fire starter, this is actually going to be easy for the rival as well, because I always replace the Grass starters for consistency. It's a rule I've had with my solo run challenges for years at this point, and it's honestly too late to change it now. But either way, it would make sense for a Bug type to face a Fire type. But anyway, once I get into Rourke's gym, I can take out the trainers for some quick experience, and then go take on the very first gym leader. Rourke leads off with his Geodude. I go ahead and use one Hidden Power Water, and it one-shots thanks to a crit, but I'm pretty confident that crit didn't matter. Next up is the Onix. It is the same story as the Geodude. And then the Cranidos is not double weak to water, so it could survive. It outspeeds and goes for Headbutt. Thankfully, it didn't get a flinch, but since I did barely enough damage not to one-shot, he ends up using a potion, which allows me to get a free 2-shot. Honestly, this fight could have gone bad if I had gotten the flinch, but hey, at least I won. As soon as I defeat Rourke, I'm going to enter this building in the top left corner of Oreburgh City. I'm going to talk to this girl and get a Dusk Ball. That way, when I go into the Oreburgh Gate and go to the bottom floor, which you have to in Diamond and Pearl, because in Platinum, Psyduck can spawn on the top floor too, but in Diamond and Pearl they can't. I can go to the bottom floor, find a Psyduck, and the Dusk Ball gives it a 99.5% chance of catching, so it's pretty much guaranteed. After this, we don't really have any other problems leading up to Floroma Town as we go on our way to fight Mars. I think Mars is going to be pretty difficult. She normally is. I go into the fight holding a Pecha Berry just in case Zubat goes for Toxic turn 1, but since this is Diamond and Pearl, most of the trainers have random AI, so the Zubat actually went for Leech Life instead. Alright, so far so good. Next up is the Perugly. She's not guaranteed to go for Fake Out, but I used Protect just in case she did, and fortunately she did. Although, as she hit me with her feint attacks, one of them ended up getting a critical hit, and because of that critical hit, I end up getting my very first reset. On the second attempt, I get so close to knocking her out, I think I was able to win because I didn't get a critical hit, but then unfortunately, I just cannot deal enough damage. So on the third attempt, I actually decide to equip the Quick Claw instead, because if I can outspeed the Perugly at least once, that could probably help, but then look at this, the one time I don't have a Pecha Berry, I get poisoned. Great. It takes quite a bit of luck to win this fight, but it took me a grand total of 7 resets to actually beat Mars, because I need Quick Claw luck to go in my favor. So yeah, that was pretty bad, but hopefully things get easier from here. The next gym leader is Gardenia, the grass type leader, and she is an absolute joke when you're using a bug type, but look at my moveset, it is not that good. I do a bunch of the training in the Eterna Forest, getting 1 reset in the process, and by the time I leave the forest I am level 20. I'm going to do some more training though to the east of Eterna City, which I don't go to that often. There's a couple of trainers here and the wild Pokemon are okay. I defeat the trainers here and then head straight towards the gym. By the time I defeat all the trainers, I'm only level 22, but I'm thinking, you know what, let's give her a try. She leads off with a Cherubi. I go ahead and use Hidden Power Water, only doing a quarter. So I decide to switch to Tackle, and it looks like Tackle's doing a bit more damage. But honestly, even though I don't have that great of attacking moves, look at how little damage she's doing to me. Honestly, I think I might be okay. She then sends out Turtwig. I have to hope it doesn't go for Reflect, and it goes for Withdraw. Then it goes for Grass Knot, okay. And then I 3-shot it thanks to a crit. Okay, that's good. And then at level 23, at just the right moment, we get access to Confusion. This is going to make the Roserade a close to 2-shot. But thankfully, thanks to the Citrus Berry, it prevents her from using a potion, and then I can actually get a clean 3-shot. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Funny story, as a kid, I would actually get a Wurmple and use either Dustox or Beautyfly in this gym because it made her whole team really bad. I just hope though that the Jupiter fight goes better. I mean, at least the Zubat doesn't have Toxic, plus I have Confusion to one-shot, but on the Skuntank, I'm gonna have to rely on Hidden Power Water. It does have powerful moves like Night Slash, but fortunately for me, she only ended up using it 2 separate times, but sadly, since I got poisoned with Poison Gas, I faint right at the last minute. But here's honestly the funny thing about the Diamond and Pearl AI, I end up winning on the second attempt, and I have almost no damage taken. So yeah, sometimes you can just win fights like that. And then I can go ahead and get the bicycle, head down through Cycling Road, and then go in the grass right here to pick myself up a hidden elixir. This is a Diamond and Pearl exclusive elixir. The only reason to go in this section of Cycling Road in Diamond and Pearl is for the elixir, because the PP up I would normally get here in Platinum isn't here, and you can't get the Earthquake TM until after you get the 6th badge, because they put strength boulders in that cave. For some reason though in Platinum they removed it. I don't know why they removed the boulders in Platinum, I kinda don't understand, but I mean, it's a weird design choice, but I'll take it whenever I get the chance to learn Earthquake. Eventually, I make it to Heart Home City, I go into the Amity Square with Psyduck, and I get myself just one thing. I'm going to get myself the Amulet Coin. This is going to help out a lot if I either want to buy vitamins or get Psychic from the Game Corner or something. Honestly, I can see myself needing to get Psychic from the Game Corner, because we don't get Psychic until a pretty decent level. And since this is Diamond and Pearl, Fantina is the 5th gym leader, not the 3rd, which actually makes sense, so I can just try to leave town and fight the rival. The rivals are generally pretty bad in Diamond and Pearl because he likes to wait forever to evolve his Pokemon. For some reason, I don't know why. Pretty much the only difficult rival fight is essentially just the one at Victory Road. Then, just before I enter Solaceon Town, I go inside the Lost Tower, which is actually mandatory in Diamond and Pearl because for some reason the Strength HM is in here. Plus the 1 copy for return as well. And also on my moveset, I now have the move Gust. This is a very weak move. Even with the same type attack bonus, Hidden Power Water is still my strongest move unless the opponent resists water. Then I can go inside the Salacion Ruins. There's a rare candy in here in Diamond and Pearl, and there's the other Odd Incense, Mind Plate, and Nugget. Those can sell for very good money. I need as much money as I can before I get to Veilstone. And also, just north of Salacion Town, I can talk to this bird keeper right here and get myself the TM for Roost. I'm not going to teach this right now just because this is the only copy. Plus, I don't need it just yet. And also, on Route 215, just before fighting Maya and Dennis, inside of this tree right here in Diamond and Pearl is a zinc. I've looked at this in Platinum and I'm pretty sure it's just a mushroom. But fortunately, Maya and Dennis don't provide any problems. Plus, one of the better things is with Hidden Power Water, it actually gets a boost on this route because of the constant rain, so it honestly makes it even easier, despite the fact he brings in a Gyarados. At least this isn't Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, where this Gyarados has Waterfall and Ice Fang on its set. He killed half of my team in my Nuzlocke I did on stream. And he did almost kill me in this run too. But thankfully, I ended up beating Dennis at very low health. It was definitely pretty close though, that's for sure. Once I enter Veilstone City, I can get this PP up outside of the Galactic Hideout, as well as the other PP up inside of this plant right here. And with those two PP ups obtained, I'm going to go into the department store and buy some super potions, because I was starting to really run low on healing items, and then I can go into Maylene's gym. I really do not like the puzzle in this gym in Diamond and Pearl because I can never seem to figure out how to solve it, but at least the trainers in here are good training. Bug and Flying is a really good typing here as well. Honestly, this is probably one of the few games where, defensively speaking, if you don't count the first gym, Bug types and Flying types have it pretty well off, at least for a couple of gyms. But anyway, let's go take on Maylene. Maylene leads off with her Metatite. Hopefully it won't go for a turn 1 Detect. Thankfully it doesn't, and I can one-shot it with Gust. I get to level 31, and then next up is the Machoke. I use Gust because Gust is actually better than Confusion, because Gust after the same type attack bonus is 60, while Confusion is 50. Plus the opponent is weak to Flying as well. Then on the Lucario, its moves are not good against me. Drain Punch, Force Palm, Metal Claw, and Bone Rush. Her best move is literally Metal Claw, but she almost never used it in this fight, and thankfully so. She only used it one time and it did a decent bit of damage. If she had spammed Metal Claw, I would have been a goner. But hey, third badge obtained. Get this though, as soon as I beat Maylene, I try to fight the Galactic Grunts with the rival here. I mean, not really the rival, but Lucas. I get a reset because the Galactic Grunt's Beautyfly crits me with Gust. Well, that's annoying. I am still going to need a lot more training, so I actually defeat a lot of the trainers here on Route 214. And do you remember in Platinum that this Poke Collector here, or Pokemaniac, I don't remember what his trainer class is, in Platinum he had the Evolutions. In Diamond and Pearl he has 3 Roselias, which funnily enough is actually really good because Roselia give 2 special attack EVs each. So if I rematch him, every time I beat him, not only do I get pretty decent XP, but I also get 6 special attack EVs. This will actually save me money on vitamins too, so I do rematch him with the Versus Seeker a few times. And after I defeat the guy a few more times, I have a lot more money too. I go back to the department store, sell a lot of my high money items, and I go ahead and buy some vitamins. And today's vitamin of the day is 3 calcium and 6 carbos. Fortunately, I did not need to buy as many calcium because of the Roselia training, so that way I was able to invest more in my speed, because my speed stat is not that great. I could have theoretically gotten the TM for Psychic at the game corner instead, but I got Psybeam and Silverwind by level up. I think I'll be fine. Once I reach Pastoria City, I get another rare candy in the mud right here just to the west, and then I get a rare candy inside the Great Marsh. There's also the Defog HM here as well. They really put HMs in the weirdest of spots in this game. And fortunately, since there's no rival fight before the gym, that rival fight is after the gym, I can go ahead and take on Wake right away. Crasher Wake leads off with his Gyarados. I did have to leave the gym and grind just a tiny bit to get to 40, then use a rare candy to get Air Slash, because with access to Air Slash, this gym is actually going to be relatively easy. I can actually two-shot the Gyarados with Air Slash, but I did get hit with a Swagger. Normally, I like to equip a Person Berry here, but I forgot. But you know what? It's fine though. I end up completely destroying his gym thanks to Air Slash. If I did not leave to go train, I would have had to spam Psybeam, which would not have been as good. Also, by the time I get to the foggy route after chasing that Galactic run around, I just realized I actually forgot the Defog HM, so I just have to get lucky and hope I don't miss too many moves. I'm not the kind of guy that likes purposefully skipping Defog, just because I have had runs before where it's actually screwed me really bad. But fortunately, I don't get unlucky today. And once I make it to Celestic Town, I can go ahead and enter the little shop right here. It is just the right time of day to where I can get myself the choice specs. This will be a really great item to have, especially for Fantina since I now have Shadow Ball on my learn set. I got the TM on the foggy route. So let's go test out this item. Fantina leads off with her Drifblim. Her Drifblim is not really that good, but fortunately I get a critical hit with a choice spec, so 9 million damage right there. Then on the Mismagius, it pulls a Bruno move and just uses Magical Leaf instead of something like Shadow Ball. And then last up is the Gengar. It does go for Spite, but it doesn't really matter. It would have been better off going for Confuse Ray. But honestly, yeah, with the choice specs, this fight became an absolute joke. And the next gym leader is usually an absolute joke as well. Byron's Pokemon are very bad, but in Diamond and Pearl, they're straight up worse. But before I go to Canalave, I do get the rare candy on Route 214, as well as the rare candy on my way to Canalave City. And the rival fight here is pretty much the first rival fight that's actually difficult, because most things are decently evolved at this point, except for his Staravia and the starter because the levels are lower. But I can just continue holding the choice specs and spam Air Slash, and then in the gym, I can hold on to choice specs and use Hidden Power Water. It hits everything in this gym for quite good damage, and if I end up facing Bronzors, I could just use Shadow Ball instead. So why don't we go check out how Byron goes. Byron leads off with a Bronzor. I send out my Mothim with the choice spec still equipped. I'm going to two-shot it with Hidden Power Water because I need to keep in mind that the Bastiodon is coming out next, and its moveset is very, very bad. It has Resto Chesto, but it has only special moves, and its special attack is worse than its attack, so that was quite bad on his part. His Steelix can be good if it sets up an Ice Fang, but doesn't really matter. It's slow as dirt, its special defense isn't that great, so I can defeat him absolutely easily. And now we're in the part of the game where we gotta go to the different lakes and fight Galactic runs, but none of that's really that interesting. So let's go ahead and skip straight to Candace. She leads off with Snover. I still have the choice specs equipped as well as the same moveset, but I do have Bug Buzz now in the set in the place of Silverwind. Silverwind was honestly not that useful, but I can just lock myself into spamming Bug Buzz, and 3/4 of her team is actually weak to Bug, and the Medicham is actually neutral, so it's actually a very good move for her whole team. That's sort of one advantage Bug types can get in this game, as in Diamond and Pearl specifically, is a lot of gym leaders, you either resist their main typing, or they're weak to your main stab offensive typing. But obviously the flying type would have given me a disadvantage, but fortunately I outsped everything. After I defeat Candace, I gotta go do the Galactic Hideout in Veilstone City. I do get one reset on Cyrus because his party members are quite fast and they have really good flying moves, but fortunately it was only one reset I got. And then before I climb Mount Coronet to reach Cyrus, I can actually fly to Celestic Town, head west, and then I can use Rock Climb right here to get the TM for Psychic. The reason I did not get it from the game corner was because I could just get it here for free. You only really want to get it from the game corner is like if you need it a lot earlier. Like for example, if I was using a Pokemon that only had Confusion and its special attack was bad, I could get Psychic for Maylene, but I didn't need to do anything like that today. There is also 2 more rare candies inside Mount Coronet. There's a rare candy inside this optional part of Mount Coronet that you don't have to go to, as well as this rock right here. There's only 2 rare candies in here. And then as soon as I make it to the spear pillar, I use some rare candies to go from level 53 all the way to level 60. The reason I used a lot of my candies is because after I beat Mars and Jupiter, I gotta fight Cyrus, and in Diamond and Pearl, if you lose to Cyrus, you have to fight Mars and Jupiter all over again. So you will lose a lot of time if you lose to him, so you want to make sure you're prepared. And fortunately for me, Mars and Jupiter really weren't that bad. It's a good thing I was pretty overleveled, but I did get rid of the choice specs though, obviously. And then with them defeated, I get my very first attempt against Cyrus. He leads off with his Haunch Crow, and I do outspeed it because it's not that fast. I go ahead and use Bug Buzz hoping for the one-shot, and I do, thanks to that Roselia training. And then next up is the Crobat. It does outspeed, goes for Air Slash, doing quite a bit of damage, and I get an unfortunate flinch. But thankfully, at this point in the game, Cyrus is still stupid. He uses Super Potions. I don't know why they liked giving opponents this late in the game Super Potions, but hey, I'll take it. But then on the Gyarados, something very unfortunate happens. It goes for Giga Impact, and it gets a critical hit. So because of that critical hit, I end up having to fight Mars and Jupiter again. But before I go back into the fight, I do delete Shadow Ball for Psychic, because I've been meaning to teach this move, so I may as well just teach it now. And now with access to Psychic, I can actually one-shot the Crobat. Plus, I can two-shot the Gyarados with Air Slash. Thankfully, it didn't get a critical hit Giga Impact on me. And then last up is his Weavile. It does have Ice Punch. Hopefully it doesn't go for it. But it doesn't matter. I get a Quick Claw. So, yep, another win for Mothim. Just ignore that last loss I had. Normally, after the difficult fight that is Cyrus, the Volkner gym is actually very, very easy. But then I ended up realizing a very bad problem. Axio Kairisora actually put it in the notes, but I didn't read ahead far enough. Mr. Mime is actually immune to Bug Buzz because it is a sound-based move. What I should have done was use Air Slash, but because of that oversight, I end up fainting, and since I didn't save, I gotta let my whole team black out. So yeah, Mothim got its very first blackout. That was just embarrassing. But thankfully there are no other mishaps, so let's go take on Volkner. He leads off with Raichu. I outspeed and get the one-shot with Bug Buzz boosted by the choice specs. Same thing for the Luxray as well. Then the Ambipom is a one-hit with Bug Buzz as well. And then last up is the Octillery. Its special defense is not that great, and because of that, Volkner's entire team is a series of one-shots. So if it wasn't for that mishap with the Mr. Mime, I would have had a completely uneventful gym here. But anyway, with Volkner defeated, we can now go through Victory Road and make our way to the Pokemon League. I do have a very annoying fight against Ace Trainer Mariah in her Blissey because I only have special moves at this point, and it was actually getting very annoying. And then on Ace Trainer Omar here, I'm spamming Air Slash on his entire team, forgetting he had the Rampardos. I really should have used Hidden Power Water, and since I didn't heal before this fight, I ended up getting hit with Zen Headbutt. I didn't want to spend the time to black out, so I just reset, and because of the reset, I gotta fight Mariah again. That's just annoying. And fortunately for me, I don't have any other episodes while in Victory Road, although I am definitely scarred by how ugly this Gabite sprite looks in this game. Ugh. And with Victory Road behind me, I can now enter the Pokemon League. I heal at the center, buy some full restores, deposit my HM users. The reason I deposit my HM users is because if I die to the rival, I can just black out, keep the XP, and I'll be 7 steps away. But hopefully I end up winning the first try. I don't remember if I'm going to purposefully black out here, but I do know for a fact I no longer have the choice specs equipped because the rival, you can't really get away with spamming the same move. And fortunately for me, I actually don't need to blackout train on him. I defeat the rival on the first try, so now let's go take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. The first member of the Elite Four is Aaron, the user of Bug types. He leads off with a Dustox. I have choice specs with Air Slash, and I don't think I need to go over this fight, because, Yeah, this is complete and utter destruction. Mothim has definitely been playing way better than Vespiquen so far. Because, funnily enough, when I rage quit earlier in the year with Vespiquen, I never ended up playing Mothim, so I assumed Mothim would be bad, but actually, Mothim was quite good. Honestly, I think I owe Mothim an apology. It's actually a pretty decent bug type. The problem is, it just doesn't really have anything going for it that much. But, at least I end up beating Aaron in the process. Next up is the ground type Elite Four member, Bertha. Bertha leads off with a Quagsire, and it's one of the worst Quagsires I've ever seen. Its only attacking move is Dig. If you lead with a flying type, she literally cannot hit you. And then I can start my Choice Spec Bug Buzz spamming. I end up defeating her Golem pretty easily, and then the Pseudo Widow goes down as well. Next up is the Wish Cache, same thing right there, which is pretty surprising because its special defense is quite good. Then on the Hippowdon, it does set up a Sandstorm, but fortunately, since it is not a rock type, it doesn't get the special defense boost that rock types get. Ground types do not get this boost, so her team is a complete one-shot sweep. Next up is the Fire type Elite Four member, Flint. I will not get over the fact that people make fun of Flint in Diamond and Pearl and his first match team in BDSP for having only 2 fire types. While yes, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, his team is actually more scary with the type diversity. In fact, it makes choice spec spamming a lot harder. I had to be really careful deciding what move to use. I end up making up my mind and going for Air Slash. Unfortunately, his Drifblim baton passes to Infernape, and then it ends up knocking me out with Flare Blitz. So yep, first reset. If this was Platinum version, I 100% would have just swept with Hidden Power Water. But I can't really do that here because the Drifblim is so tanky. So I need to go out for raw damage. It does make the Steelix a little annoying though because it resists flying, but then again, Steelix is pretty much weak to any special move. It takes me a couple of tries to beat Flint, but he ends up going down in no time. Next up is the Psychic type Elite Four member, Lucian. I made sure to unequip the choice specs for this fight because, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Mime has the ability Soundproof, so I actually cannot sweep with Bug Buzz. I need the ability to swap between my moves at will. Fortunately on turn 1 though, she ended up not going for a light screen, and I'm quite happy about that. So I can just continue sweeping with Air Slash, and then once I get to the Bronzong, I can just switch over to Bug Buzz. And also, Shadow Ball sweeping would not work here, all because of the Girafarig. And then on the Alakazam, it does outspeed, but he pulls a Bruno move and just uses Focus Blast instead of something like Psychic. And then the Bronzong goes down to a critical hit Bug Buzz. Alright, with Lucian defeated, we still have one more trainer to go. We need to go take on the champion Cynthia and finish this run. Let's do this. I have a slight moveset overhaul. I'm holding the Quick Claw and I have Air Slash, Bug Buzz, Attract, and Roost. I played with a male Mothim because Mothim can only be male, but here's the thing though. It's actually convenient since Cynthia's Spiritomb is female. I can set up Attract on it, hope it doesn't set up too much, and then I can just spam with Bug Buzz. I have Roost too to slowly heal up as well. It is also very strange to me that the Spiritomb has Silver Wind, but not Ominous Wind. Doesn't really make any sense. And also, I did get a reset on the Milotic because it does have Mirror Coat. The one sad thing about Mothim is it does not have a stat boosting move. I really wish it did. I don't know if it does in the newer games, but in this game it doesn't. Plus, I can also use Attract on the Milotic as well. But this Cynthia fight is actually surprisingly difficult. And also, the reason earlier in the run I was pointing out all the rare candies, one of the things I like about Diamond and Pearl more than Platinum in terms of solo runs is that 1, the Elite Four are higher leveled in Diamond and Pearl, and you don't get as many rare candies. You can get roughly 17 to 18 rare candies in Platinum, but in Diamond and Pearl, I think the number is around 10 to 12. but you get way less rare candies than normal, so it can actually make the league hard despite the random AI. But here's the thing though, everybody remembers struggling with Cynthia as a kid. In Diamond and Pearl, she had random AI. The fact she still had random AI and was still that hard just shows how good of a team she has. This fight though still needs luck to go my way. I have the Quick Claw equipped because her Garchomp has 174 speed, which is actually the fastest Pokemon in this game. Even with 180 speed EVs, I still cannot outspeed it. And also, when I said earlier my ability was pressure, I lied actually. That was all Vespiquen stats. I forgot to edit the overlay. I'm sure I edited this halfway through and some of you may have noticed, but I just noticed in the voiceover. Anyway, that doesn't matter, we clock in. With a real time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 32 seconds, with 1 blackout, 20 resets at level 75, with a game time at the Hall of Fame of 6 hours and 29 minutes. Yeah, Mothim did not end up performing that good, at least compared to everyone else on the leaderboard right here. This thing is definitely near the bottom, but at least it was nowhere near as bad as Slacking was. Slacking is really held back by its ability. Plus, if Mothim had access to some sort of stat boosting move, like, what if this thing had growth or something? If this thing had growth, oh man, this thing would be a lot better for sure. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support the channel through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to the patch files for all the backport Pokemon we do on stream. Plus, in the new year, I'm going to try and start doing more member-exclusive content. I still haven't decided what it is yet, but I'm going to try and offer some more benefits to incentivize people to become members, because I'm sure not everybody wants to play the patch files for the ROMs that we play on stream for the backports. But I'll definitely think of something you guys might like. Leave a comment if you have any ideas. But anyway, tomorrow though, we're going to be doing Pokemon White 2 Challenge Mode with Durant. Yeah, do you like what I did with the thumbnail? Yeah, I'm proud of myself for that. But anyway, Durant is going to be a relatively interesting run. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow as we continue Daily December.